What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and for those of you wondering, why is Mason wearing a hat in this video? It's because I just want to represent my team more, you know? Yeah, tap the badge, woo! And it's totally not because I have terrible hair from wearing a wig all day for Halloween. It's not the reason at all. Anyways, but let's talk about today's game. Very nerve-wracking win over Derby County. I mean, great to see Frank Lampard back. Great to see Steve Holland back. I would say great to see two of our young lone players get a chance to play, because normally that doesn't happen. But yeah, it was pretty interesting to see them play. But it came with mixed results, and I'll talk about that later. But first, I want to talk about the one topic that I think probably divides people the most, and that is, of course, Sarri, again, and his decisions. Because I just have issues still. And I realize, okay, we haven't lost yet. Okay, we're starting off the season well. I get that. The style of play is fine. It's actually been working out okay. That is not my problem anymore. And I think I've said this in a past video. Like, I don't have an issue with this style of play anymore. I did at first. I was concerned because I'm like, look how bad we are defending. But honestly, the defending has gotten better. We're not giving up as many chances, but we still are giving up some crap chances. However, his subs are still the same. And it's something that I've had an issue with. It's something that I've talked about. The stubbornness to not make any adaptability changes. The stubbornness to not move players around and try to fix a situation. Like whenever we're leaking chances and leaking goals against a championship side. I don't know. Maybe make us a bit stronger by moving some things around. Maybe change up your formation a little bit. Maybe play players in positions that make them more defensive. No. Once again, like for like, like for like, like for like. All three subs. And even then, the like for like switches weren't always good. You look at the first one. David Luiz comes on. Okay, defensively we've been poor. David Luiz, while he's not been astounding, has been doing okay defensively. He still has those moments where he's a little, oh my gosh, what is going on? But overall he's been okay the past few games. So let's take Cahill off because he's been terrible. Bad passes, bad defending. He gives up the first goal, just sloppy defending and slips on top of it. I mean, it was really, really bad from him today. He nearly gave up the equalizing goal in the last minute because he got burned. Just like Alonso on the weekend, I was pissed off at him. Same thing here with Cahill. You're ahead of him and you just let him sneak right in front of you and have an easy shot. I mean, it was bad. So, yeah, let's take off Christensen. What? I'm sorry, what? Now, I'm not going to say Christensen played out of his mind today. I'm not going to say Christensen deserves to start over David Luiz or Rudiger. I am going to say Christensen was not a problem today. He didn't pull up any routes. He didn't do anything shocking that made me think, yes, I want him, or no, definitely not. But Cahill was doing the oh no, definitely not stuff. He was doing stupid stuff. He was giving up chances and giving up goals. And so you take off Christensen. Explain that to me. And I even heard the announcer saying something along the lines of, oh, Cahill unhappy with his playing time. Well, that's why. Because you are terrible. That was awful. He's slow. His play is slow. Defensively, he's poor. He's not tracking runs. He's not tracking runners. He's not cutting off passes. I mean, honestly, there's nothing about this game today that made me think I want to give Cahill more of a chance. So when Christensen is the defender you yank off the field, explain that to me, fans of Sarri. Explain that why I should support a coach that is going to take off the players that are positive. He's done this all season. Whether it's Kovacic, whether it's most of the time Giroud, whether it's at the beginning of the season, I remember the Community Shield, the first signs of danger for me, Hudson-Odoi is tearing it up. He's the first one to get yanked off in like the 55th minute. He's done this all season, where there's a player that I'm like, we need to keep him on the field. Okay, take him off. Yank him off the field real quick. I don't understand it. The obvious choice there was to get Cahill off the field. And he doesn't, and it causes us problems. As soon as that sub happened, it was like Derby started having the better of the chances. It was still an even game, but we were not nearly as much in their half. And that's something I could say throughout most of the game. we were pretty much taking it to them. It was just we couldn't finish because, once again, Murata's playing. But unfortunately, can't help that. Giroud is out, and the club got rid of all of other strikers, so what are we supposed to do now? But yeah, I mean, we can't create any chances, but we're still dominating possession. We're dominating play. We give up a couple crap goals from bad defending from Cahill, bad defending from Emerson. But we're still in charge. We're still controlling. You just feel like it's a matter of time before something breaks. David Luiz comes on for Christensen. It's in our half. It's in our half. It's in our half. It's in our half. Pretty much the rest of the game from that point on. Because then he takes off Loftus-Cheek, who is our most promising attacking player in the second half. Takes him off for Pedro. Yeah, take off the guy that's been causing so much trouble down that right side. He's been absolutely destroying the left back for Derby. Absolutely tearing him apart. Whoosh. Yeah, off the field. Get off the field. Stop being good. No, we don't want that here. Take him off. Pedro, go. Get on. Go. Pointless. Now, not saying Willian had a bad game and he deserved to come off either. The right sub would have been Fabregas come off, Conte go into the middle, Loftus-Cheek drop back into the middle, Pedro. Or Fabregas come off, Conte drop in the middle, Barkley go in the middle. Perfect. Something along those lines. Because we needed more defensive stability. Because we were not doing it. And yet he keeps the same system that he's got this whole season where we're not defensively solid. Where we have a distributor in the middle that's supposed to be deeper. So whenever we're trying to defend, he's the deepest one, whether it's Jorginho, whether it's Fabregas. Why not have a defensive player in there whenever you need to defend? Why not change the system a little bit so whenever you need to keep them from scoring, you set yourself up for that? No, this is Sarri we're talking about. He's going to do what he always does. Center back for center back, wing player for wing player, fullback for fullback. Which in this case actually did make us more defensive. But that was the only one that I can agree with. Just because bringing Dave off the bench is always going to be a good decision. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what the thought process is. I don't know what he's thinking. Not taking Cahill off. Not switching things up to make us more sound defensively. Just yanking off one of the most... Okay, not the most. But in the second half at least, he was the best attacking player we had. I mean, first half he was kind of non-existent, but second half he was absolutely tearing it up. He was causing things to happen. He was doing good stuff. Most of our attacking players, honestly, in the second half were doing well. I would have preferred to see Barkley come on in the midfield. Now, of course, it would have been Barkley for Kovacic because that's his sub to make. But I thought that would have been the better sub, not Pedro. Because Pedro is you're mixing up that front three, and they were playing so well together at the beginning of the second half. And it's just like you change that dynamic, that's all of a sudden we're not in their half anymore. And that's where things really started to come towards us a lot more. And they were creating better chances. And it felt like it's just a matter of time before we give up an equalizer. So whenever that shot hits the post, I'm just like, well, here we go. Thankfully, it rebounds back. But, I mean, once again, we're relying on luck to win us games. This is not the first time this season this has happened. How many sky chances in the 6-yard box have we had? This is not the first time this has happened this season. And yet nothing's changing. Nothing is... Sarri's doing the exact same stuff. He's making the same decisions. He's doing the same stuff that's really putting the game at risk for us every single game. And if not for a couple great players so far this season, and the fact that we have had some very lucky things go for us, this could be a totally different season. If all of the goals went in that they should have scored, the other team should have scored in past games, we could be middle of the table, we'd be out of the League Cup, we might even be in the bottom of the group in the Europa League. I haven't seen all the games, or any of the games, so I can't say for sure, but who knows? I mean, the way we're playing in these other competitions, I would say maybe the Europa League is the exact same way. Because it's very frustrating to watch. It is very, very frustrating, especially from somebody who doesn't like to give up goals. Especially from my point of view, watching that and watching him make the same subs and not changing anything, not making us more defensively solid whenever we're only up a goal and we leaked 2 goals. It really gets really, really frustrating. So, all that being said, let's talk about individuals. First, Caballero. I mean, made a couple good saves. The first one, I really thought, he just really didn't move at all. He just stuck out a leg and hope for the best. I mean, it's difficult, one-on-one situations. But both of them kind of feel like maybe he could have done a bit better, but at the same time, I understand why. It's difficult to deal with. So well, the second one actually, no, there's nothing he could do for that one now that I think about it. So yeah, there's not much more he could have done. I think he plays well enough. Honestly, I mean, you compare him and Kepa, they're doing kind of the same thing right now. Neither of them are doing great things that keep us in games, and yet no, he wasn't free. He was cheap. Kepa was 85 million. I'm going to keep harping on this until he does something fantastic and shows why he's out there. I'm going to keep harping on the fact that we spent so much money for a keeper that just, he's okay. The back four, honestly, I mean, probably the worst part of the team. Zappacosta, not a fullback. He's a wing player. Especially, I mean, the first goal when Cahill gives the ball away and then slips. Yeah, where's Zappacosta? Oh, he's at midfield. We had the ball in defense. We needed an outlet. Where are you? Oh, I'm all the way up at midfield. I'm ready to go. Come on, coach. Let's go. Let's go. I'm ready to attack. We're an attacking team, right? Yeah, we're not up the field yet, you dimwit. So, yeah, he really frustrates me. I mean, congrats on assisting 2 own goals. I don't know. Honestly, both of those goals, I don't know how to describe it. I mean, the second one was a bit more understandable because it's a defender tracking back, tries to get a touch on it, it bounces off his thigh and deflects into the goal. That one's a bit more understandable, but yeah, Tomori, I have no idea. Like, it didn't skip, it didn't like flick off his foot and go back in. No, it was just he swung and missed. I guess Zappacosta got the same lucky fairy dust that Sarri has that keeps us in games by other teams missing. I don't know how we do it, but somehow we do it. But yeah, those 2 assisted crosses that led to own goals, though, didn't really make up for the fact that defensively he didn't provide us much of anything. And honestly, he got very lucky for the third goal because it should have been a foul on him. I mean, he straight up goes into the guy's back stupidly, even though the ball's already out of bounds. Could have been a foul there. Thankfully, the referee's an idiot because Jonathan Moss is an idiot. And so we managed to take the throw in and then score quickly. Emerson on the other side, I mean, defensively also terrible. They're both fullbacks that are better on the attack because they were bought to fit Conte's system, the right and left wing backs. They weren't supposed to be fullbacks. So, once again, my argument of why didn't we go pick up some fullbacks in the summer transfer window comes back into play. So yeah, I'm very, very frustrated still with them, especially because Alonso's not been doing much either. Emerson today, I mean, could have been your chance. Alonso got burned several times against Burnley. I didn't even mean to do that. Look at that little pun. Anyways, but yeah, Emerson, this is your chance to take the spot, to do something to prove it, and then just awful. The one where the ball comes in and he ducks it. I don't know if somebody talked to him. I don't know what he heard. But yeah, that one moment should be enough to say, get off the field. And then the 2 center backs, like I said, Cahill was awful today. He should have been the one to come off for sure. Christensen was okay. He didn't really do anything special. He looks comfortable on the ball again, which he didn't when he played against Liverpool in the first round of that Carabao Cup. But yeah, he looks more comfortable on the ball now. He looked a lot more confident. He's just not doing what I see Rudiger doing, to really affect change, to do something defensively spectacular and, chase down people and cause problems for the attackers. He doesn't really do much of that anymore, which I feel like he did a bit more of last season. So I want to see more out of him just because he's a good young defender. But right now he's just kind of being average. The 3 in the midfield, all 3 of them I thought played pretty well. Fabregas faded off in the second half. But in the first half, I thought he did well enough, kept the ball moving, did the distributor's job well enough. But like I said, whenever you go up a goal and you can see that your defense is not playing well, make that a defensive role now. Make that a player that defends better than he does distribute. But no, we keep him in the whole game. Kovacic, for the first time, actually finishes the game and, in my opinion, played well throughout. There was one challenge that was in, I I think like the 80th minute or something. I think it was Huddleston was just driving down the field, and here comes Kovacic from behind and then pokes it away. And I'm just like, see, that is the type of stuff that I just love to see out of midfielders. You know, that tracking back, even though he's more of an attack-minded midfielder, he still tracks back so well and works to win the ball, and I love to see that. I love to see that out of any player, and especially from a midfielder. And of course, Conte, still doing Conte things, still on the attack at times. It feels like he's not great with the ball. So I still feel like he'd be best in the center of those three, dropped deep, but it's Sarri's system, and he's stubborn and won't change anything. But he does at times look really good when he's driving down the field at speed, and I think that's what Sarri wants out of him, is to pick up the ball from deep and drive, but that doesn't happen enough, because how often do we really pick it up and drive at people? Most of the time, not really. So I don't know. I feel like he's being wasted in the system as the right of the three, but nothing changes. Willian, Murata, and Loftus-Cheek, all three up front. Willian, I thought, played well throughout. Faded off a little bit near the end of the second half. But for the first half, he was fantastic. Most of the second half, I thought he played well. Murata, terrible first half again, because, once again, doing his whole run behind the defender, because that's the only run that I ever do. There's one, I swear. Defender here, defender here, defender here. So there's like a triangle. Like, I don't even know how to make a triangle. We'll do like this big, right? Where's he going? I'm going to run here, around the triangle, because this space right here in the middle of those three, a good, I don't know, 10, 20-yard triangle. No, that's not my space. You might as well do the Drake meme. Like, oh, space right there? No. Oh, running behind the defender? That's my thing. It's so stupid. How many times do you get the ball per game? Almost never, because you keep running behind the defender. And on top of that, he's so weak in a challenge, and the referees can tell. I mean, it's so obvious. His dives are terrible. So, just watching him really, really pisses me off. I hate the fact that Giroud's out, because, man, we needed him so bad today. I mean, the defenders for Derby were doing better finishing than our striker was. And then Loftus-Cheek, like I said, the first half for him, he was kind of non-existent, didn't really see much from him. But the second half came out flying. And even, I will say, even in the first half, it was less because he wasn't getting involved, more because it felt like we kept going down the left side a lot. And so he wasn't really involved because we weren't down the right. And whenever we were, it was mainly going down with Zappacosta down the wing, because he was sort of crowding out the wing area. So it just felt like we couldn't really get him involved in the first half. But once we did, he's a very positive player, and he's really starting to come into his own as well. I mean, just watching him play over the past couple games, obviously getting the hat trick in the Europa League shows his confidence is growing. And I thought today he played well again. You know, he had a lot of good moments, a lot of good little 1-2s. He takes on defenders and beats them with his pace. I mean, I'm really enjoying watching him play now, which is something I did not used to say about him. So the fact that he's really starting to grow as a player gets me excited, and I feel like he's going to be a nice asset for us as the season goes on. And then as far as the subs, David Luiz came on. He got beat a few times defensively because, like I said, sometimes he can be crazy as a defender. There were just a few more crazy moments today than there have been in the past few games. So disappointing to see that, because we had the other defender that was just useless. So he makes a mistake. Who's going to cover for him? Cahill? Right. Pedro came on, and he was just busy, working hard. He's a good player, but this was not his game. This was not the game to bring him in, because we needed someone in the midfield to run things, not someone in the front three to try to run around and cause issues. Because how often were Derby playing in the back line? Not very often. And then Spilicueta comes on, he worked hard, but at that point it was like they knew not to go down the wings. They knew to go down the middle, because that's where our most dangerous players for us were. So it really was kind of he didn't have a whole lot to do, because they kept driving down the middle because they could. So yeah, overall it's a win again, but it's an uncomfortable win again. I mean, we've had so many uncomfortable wins this season and uncomfortable draws this season. It can get frustrating to watch, and to have all these people just saying like, oh, come on, you got to be positive. I've tried to be, I mean, watching some of the play today was fantastic. The style of play that Sarri has brought has been good. I have enjoyed watching. I mean, in the second half especially, when we started moving the ball around as well as we did before, the switches came, I was like, this is probably the most beautiful we've played in a long time. It really does. And Hazard's not even on the field. That was the other great thing about it. You don't have Giroud, who's normally your link-up guy up there. You don't have Hazard, who is your talented player. It's Willian, Murata, Fabregas, and Loftus-Cheek. And they're just ping, 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 and Kovacic as well, just knocking it around. Oh, it was so beautiful to watch. But then he makes his switches, and all of a sudden that beautiful football is gone. And now all of a sudden we're defending, and it's panicked, and we're getting beat because we have David Luiz and Cahill in the back, and we're not linking up any play up there. We don't have any good possession because we've got two small players in Willian and Pedro, and then we've got Murata, who's weak as, piece of paper. So it just felt like we weren't getting anything done because we took off our big body, which we needed. So it's so frustrating because the problems seem obvious to me. The issues seem obvious. The changes seem obvious to me. And so the fact that Sarri can't see it is very frustrating. So, all that being said, yeah, those are my thoughts. Thankfully, we're on to the next round. This is still it's a trophy to win, so why not go for it? And the fact that we are able to put out a lot of players that don't see much of the field, it is good to get a win based off of that, but it is kind of confirming that some of these players, like Cahill, like Zappacosta, like Emerson, like Murata, I'm sorry, a little bit of humor there. No, but I mean those three especially, those really showed tonight why they don't fit in the system and why they don't need to be here much longer. There are better options out there. There are better options probably from players we have loaned out. So we just need to kind of move on. I'm sorry if you heard that. It's my phone. I'll take that away now. And that's kind of what I think this competition can do. It can give those players a chance to either impress or show why they don't need to be here anymore. And in my opinion, some of them showed why they don't need to be here anymore. So, and I guess I'll touch on Mason Mount and Tamori really quickly. Yeah, Mount had some good moments in the second half. When Derby really got control of the game, he was involved in a lot of the good build-up play. I was impressed with him mostly in the second half. Tamori had a few good moments. I don't know if it was nervousness. I don't know if it was just because he's playing against the first team, or not even the first team, but he's playing against his club. I don't know what that was. But after that moment, he had a couple other slip-ups here and there, but overall I thought he played well enough. But both of them did show out pretty well. If I had to pick the better of the two, I'd go with probably Mason Mount, just because it feels like that quick change of play. He's very good. Almost can fit like the Barkley role as well, or the Kovacic role. So I do think he can be an asset. I mean, he's still very young. So if Barkley or Kovacic start to drop off, or if we don't manage to get Kovacic on a full transfer, if he goes back to Real Madrid and they're like, we want to keep him, then maybe Mason Mount can step in and be that role for backup for Barkley next year, because I think he can probably do pretty well. But I'm glad they are getting time. Obviously, Lampard there at Derby, he's done a pretty good job at really making them a good team. I mean, they did play well. Even we obviously had the better quality on the field, and that showed in the end. But it did feel even at times. There were moments where it felt like it could be a back and forth game. So yeah, I think both of them are going to be good assets for us in the future. Just as long as we don't have Zappacosta on the other team that we're playing crossing the ball in, I think we'll be good. But anyways, that's all for this game. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts overall? What do you think about my comments about Sarri and his decisions? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys the next game. Peace out.